Welcome to Peculiar Stories, where we explore the fascinating world of near-death experiences and offer new perspectives on the meaning of life and death. Our goal is to shed light on these profound stories, deepen your understanding of life, and provide valuable insights to our audience. Whether you're new here or simply joining us again, we're thrilled to have you on this journey. If you enjoy what we do, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our latest content, and don't forget to hit the like button to help our content reach a wider audience. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to the edge of life and beyond. Without further ado, let's get to the story. Because of the prolonged care of my friend, I was on the edge of exhaustion. I had done the care in our home almost completely by myself. Finally, there was help from an outpatient nursing service. That lasted for almost a year. I had a very close relationship with my friend. We were also very open with each other about psychological and emotional matters. Half a year ago, there was a point where he, Rolf, was at a point where he was ready to leave, that is, to die, and I agreed to take care of him at home. There were some critical situations and several hospital stays. At the time of the decision, however, I was also already in an advanced stage of an infection, with a severely damaged immune system. So it was the decision, you or I, who is first. Since it is my nature to stick with what I had planned, I gathered all my strength to continue to properly care for and support my partner. My knowledge as a naturopath and nurse helped me with that. I was able to apply natural healing methods at the same time with the then optimal conventional medical applications. Later, Rolf got daily infusions, even some transfusions, and all of that in his familiar environment at home, and usually I administered these myself. I had also had experience with terminal care, since I had taken care of both my father in 1975, at the age of 20, as well as my maternal uncle in 1979. I had cared for both until they died at home. In June 1991, Rolf's condition became worse and worse. He became blind, so I read for him daily for a long time. But his general condition was getting worse every day, especially the blood count. He had to get more transfusions now. For safety reasons, we had tried to do this as an outpatient in the clinic, but that was very hard on him. Therefore, despite the big risks and some medical hurdles, I decided to do the transfusions myself at home. This was much better, however. His condition went downhill despite all medical efforts. Rolf also experienced this very consciously. Strangely, I could calm and comfort him. He felt at home and safe through my presence. We also talked about a life after death, in which he did not really believe. I, however, firmly believed it. On June 21, 1991, in the early afternoon, it became clear to the nurse, but also to me, that Rolf would die today or tomorrow. I asked the nurse to leave us because I wanted to make Rolf a nice farewell, as I told her. Rolf has been in a coma since the morning. In the afternoon, I decided to die together with him. I prepared everything as well as possible. First, I cleared the apartment and wrote a farewell letter. Then I picked out Rolf's favorite music and set the tape to repeat. I washed Rolf again and got him the clothes he had asked to put him in, a white shirt and many colorful ribbons. Then I washed myself and also put on loose but beautiful things. I decorated the room festively, lit candles and incense, and opened both windows. I muted the phone and the doorbell. Rolf already had the typical snap breathing, and it was now about 6 p.m. days before. I had been thinking about in which way to kill myself, so that we would die about the same time. Rolf had a porta-cath system through which his infusions ran, from which I first tapped off a larger amount, 100 milliliters, of his blood. Then I slightly increased his morphine dose. Then I put myself a butterfly IV cannula. I went to bed with Rolf to apply my injection there and to die with him there. Through the cannula, I administered myself the blood of Rolf in the hope of triggering an incompatibility reaction, and immediately after that, morphine and other drugs in larger quantities. But I do not remember how much it was exactly. Then I must have fallen asleep. The NDE started. I suddenly hovered over my body and saw the situation from a bird's-eye view. Rolf and I were lying next to each other in bed. But I had no direct connection to Rolf. The whole thing around me happened like a movie in front of me. I saw my past life, but also what happened right now in different places on Earth. Like a puppet theater, I saw politicians, wars, factories, people who were busy with their problems. All this seemed so unimportant, even funny. I laughed heartily about how all of us, are all digging off here on Earth. Then I was pulled away through a tunnel, and then I saw a bright, very warm light in the distance. It was like I was pulled there, and I also wanted to go there. On the way, I recognized people who had already died, like my grandmother and some former friends who had died from AIDS. I felt that they were very happy, and they wanted to hug me all. Then suddenly there was an angel by my side who gave me his name and said, "I am your chosen guardian angel." He told me without words that he was always there for me, and asked without reproach why I had not called him to help more often. There were no words at this level. The understanding just happened by being open to receive. It was an incredible and indescribable experience to receive that understanding, knowledge, in an effortless manner, and without misunderstandings, prejudices, or other negative pressures. Everything was truthful and present. After this realization, I stood with the angel in front of a large open gate, like a heavenly gate. Peter and my guardian angel told me that I could not enter yet. This shocked me in a way, but at the same time, I felt such an infinite good-heartedness and love. I cannot put it into words. Everything was filled with this sense of unreserved security, love, and being unconditionally accepted. I was told that I should try for a while to give this feeling of unrestricted, unconditional love to my fellow human beings in earthly life. Then everything went very fast. Without pain or problems, my guardian angel brought me back into my body. I felt happy and very relieved. It is really difficult to describe what exactly happened, because again and again the words are missing. What I am saying here is that it happened without a timeline, simultaneously and yet infinitely. At some point, I heard the music in our room again, and felt a slight pain in the left arm, where the infusion needle was still stuck. A significant bruise had formed, because the cannula had probably pushed through. So I freed myself from the infusion cannula. Then I became more awake, and realized that the body next to me was already colder than my own. I got up, staggered a bit, but still tested the vital signs of Rolf. There was no pulse and no breathing. It was dark outside, but a blackbird sang its evening song right at our window. Rolf had died, and his soul was now where I was allowed to visit for a very short time. I was sure I felt it in the same way that I got the messages from my extraterrestrial experience. I lay down to bed again alongside Rolf, and again hugged the already cold body. But that made me uncomfortable. I was to get up and go on living. I got an assignment. Suddenly a big mourning came over me. How could I live on my own? Why was I not allowed to go? Some of the earthly doubts had caught up with me again, although the experience had been so strong. To capture something of it, I tried to put into written words what I had been told. Again, I put on nice music, and thought that I would not call the doctor or anyone else until morning. I wanted to give Rolf and myself a little rest. This time was important for me to let it all sink in, and I also somehow felt that the body still needed peace. In the morning at 6 o'clock, I called the emergency doctor, who noticed the death of Rolf, and then I quickly caught up with the everyday life of the mourning friend.